I'm Nate Springer, and I'm going to be giving my presentation over my grandma, Marjorie Reitsma. Marjorie Louise Reitsma was born on January 25, 1949 in Laurel, Mississippi. Some of Margie's favorite memories as a child included Alabama Point for a week. They stayed in a cabin and caught crabs. Margie enjoyed the 4th of July show in Jackson, Mississippi. One of Margie's best friends as a kid was Deborah. She lived across the street from Margie, and they would hang out almost every day. When Margie was 8 years old, she received her favorite present ever. It was a Zorro set. Zorro was a very popular figure back then, and her parents had gotten her a complete set with a fort and all kinds of horses and figures. Margie had a parakeet named Mandy. She always tried to get her to learn words, but she never did. Her sister always complained about Mandy, but Margie loved her. The Ruffins had a family dog named Duke, and they loved Duke a lot. Margie was involved in the play during school. She really liked performing in them, and she had her favorite memories in them. Her favorite memory of the play was when she got the main part one year. It wasn't a singing part, but it was one of the main speaking parts. And her least favorite memory was her first year when she was trying it. She didn't like it because it was so crowded and she didn't get a part that year. Margie's dad was named Shelby Stanley Ruffin, and her mom's name was Margaret Virginia Buchanan. Shelby worked at the state tax department. Margie was the youngest of 3 other siblings. Her oldest sister was named Judy, then her brother Shelby, next her sister Jenny, and finally Margie. The Ruffin family spent lots of time together, whether they were going on a vacation, celebrating one of their many traditions, or just spending time together. During Margie's high school and college years, she experienced the conflict of segregation. And since she lived in the South, she had the typical Southern viewpoint on segregation. Then one day a friend opened her eyes to it, and she started believing that segregation was bad. Margie was a big Beatles fan, and one time her and her friend Deborah organized a bus trip so that a bunch of kids could go down to Texas just to see a Beatles concert. After Margie graduated high school, she attended college at Trinity Christian College in a suburb of Chicago. Margaret was Margie's roommate there, and Margaret was Richard's sister. Margaret would always write to Richard about Margie, and Richard became very interested. Finally, after one winter break, Richard decided to drive Margaret back to college to meet Margie. After that, Margie began writing to Richard. Finally, during Richard's last year at college, he transferred to Trinity to be able to spend more time with Margie. Richard and Margie married on May 23, 1970. When they married, they moved back to Amsterdam, and their first house was a houseboat. After they were married, they had 4 kids. Their oldest was named Aletha, then Heather, after that Amy, and finally Deborah. Margie loved to read and spend time with her children. Margie has been in many places since she's been married, including Amsterdam, Kansas, Orange City, Iowa, Michigan, and Rock Rapids, Iowa, where she currently lives now. Margie loves spending time with her grandchildren, whether they are playing games, watching movies, walking in the park, or being at sports activities. These are some traditions Margie hopes her grandchildren pass down to their grandchildren. Reading books and stories with their children both when they are young, but also when they grow up and can read themselves. It is a wonderful bonding experience to share stories and books with your children. She hopes they continue to express creativity through music or other arts such as plays. It is important to go on family vacations together, whether it's camping or spending time with the extended family. Praying and reading the Bible together at bedtime is a wonderful way to end the day. I'm going to end with my grandma's favorite poem. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abolish the little bird that kept so many warm. Emily Dickinson.